Easy now. Papa got things making hands
come down. Ooh, you make my high come down. Always tripping when you come around. I'ma have to cut you off, like right now. You see, I don't want to drive me. You can say that for your mama. Maybe you should smoke some. Me try the marijuana. I was never you good. The vibe was straight. Showed you a couple of things and they ain't finna change. I treated you right. Everything was a gift from a time to your bag and the color on your lip. Yeah, you
Welcome to a special edition of Seahawks Man to Man, a YouTube exclusive. My name is Michael-Shawn You can follow me on whatever Elon Musk is calling that app these days. My @name has not changed, at Mike Dugar, Mikedugar. If you didn't catch all that, luckily for you, it's on the screen. You can check it out there. Special shout out to everyone who's watching this right now, because that means you probably subscribe to our YouTube channel. Seahawks Man to Man is the name of the channel. Man, the number 2 man. Thank you for all the love and support, both on our post-game shows and on our standout plays, which is what this is right here. Chris, go ahead and talk to him.
What is going on, everybody? It's your boy, Christopher Kid. Be sure to follow me on Twitter at CKIDD206, and that's CKid206. Congratulations to us, Mike. We are at 3,200 subscribers, on our way to 35. So let's keep going. Let's keep growing. We appreciate all the new subscribers that have dropped in, whether it be to watch the post-game shows and or learn some film with Mike and myself. So we appreciate it. On the road to 3,500. Maybe we can try to get that before the new year. That'd be a great little gift. Happy New Year to Seahawks Man to Man. 3,500 followers on the way to 4K. So hit that subscribe button. All right. I guess I can't really complain to our audio listeners because this is just an exclusive just for YouTube. So thank you guys again. Mike, are you ready to get into it? We have some great plays from the Seahawks versus Browns game from last week. How do you want to start this thing off, man? Should I go or should you go?
I think you should start with you should go first. And I think you should start with the offensive side of the ball, because we have my boy featured in the. I think this is might be his debut. So let's roll with it.
I think so. Actually, I swear. See, maybe I need to remember all the things that we've broken down since we started, but I'm pretty sure I might not have highlighted him specifically, but I did give a golf clap to him. That wasn't a golf clap, obvious, but I did give him a golf clap for a great block that he set. So it's funny, this play that I'm going to talk about later on in a few minutes here, it actually reminisces. Is that a word? Reminisces? Reminisce is a word.
Yeah.
It sounded so weird coming off the tongue. But nonetheless, nonetheless, I won't waste too much time. We're going to get right into it. And my first play is going to be Ty Lockett. All right. And in this scenario here, the Seahawks, they're going to come out. It's the first quarter, obviously. Well, not obviously. It's the first quarter. You got 3rd and 4, about 12 minutes. The game is rolling. It's the first quarter, 12 minutes rolling into the game. Ball at the Seahawks 26-yard line. Seahawks are in their favorite personnel. You guessed it, guys. Yep. That's 11. Say it with me. 3 wide receivers. Yep. 1 tight end and 1 running back. And then the Browns, they're going to be in nickel. Now, you're wondering who's out on the field. So at the top of your screen, you will have big DK Metcalf. Right next to him, Tyler Lockett. And then on the bottom of your screen, towards the bottom of it, you'll have JSN as well as Noah Fant, hand in the dirt. And then in the backfield, the light-skinned king himself, Zach Charbonnet.
Light-skinned king. That's funny. That's a lot of light-skinned cats on the field in this particular play.
And then defensively, this one, I mean, it'd be nice if I had connections. I know Mike does. I just want to have Mike ask all these different people, like, hey, what is this? It appears to be a man and zone combination. And what I'm saying is, at the top of your screen, these dudes are in man. It is, I have DK, I have Lockett. Then you come towards the middle of the field, and when the play snaps, the way they're moving, they're not in man. And I find it very hard to believe that 2 dudes on the opposite side of the field got the play wrong. However, it's possible. Anywho, that's not what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about Ty Lockett here, who again is at the top of the screen right next to DK, obviously the smaller player in this regard. I'm going to go ahead and run it fast speed and just watch the separation Tyler creates with this route. And obviously a great catch and a great snag. Tyler Lockett is really, really talented at creating separation and making the catch in traffic, whether there's a defender on him or not. And in this route, I think it's just really cool to see. He explodes like he's going, could be a wheel route. The defender in his head, he's thinking, oh my gosh, Tyler Lockett hits the sideline. I'm barbecued. Then you have DK coming across the middle, almost consider it a pick play, which is quote unquote illegal. But if you don't touch him, it's all good. And in this scenario, it worked out perfectly. But I love how Ty Lockett sold that he is attacking the outside for an out route, for a deep corner, for the wheel route. There are so many things that Tyler Lockett could do on this specific play that if you look at the defender right now in this frozen frame, that's panic mode. That's, oh shoot, I got to get outside and stop Ty Lockett from doing whatever he's about to do. And that's exactly what Tyler wants you to think. I am going outside. And then look at this cut. Look how low Tyler is. He's damn near sitting in a chair right now. He is sitting down in this frozen frame. And I like how it's not for Geno Smith, that is the pocket present. Look how clean that pocket is. Look at this. 4 rushers. The clock is clean. Geno has options. He's looking to his right now. Noah Fant and JSN are running their routes. Zach Charbonnet is coming out of the backfield. Actually, I believe that's Noah Fant. Yeah, I was right. So the pocket's clean. And then just watch how Geno just finds this guy wide open across the middle. Beautiful pass. Beautiful route by Tyler Lockett. I'll highlight again. This is just a really cool play. And you go to your money guy. It's Ty Lockett all the time. And then if you look at the defense, clearly man up top, but watch how the defenders react on the opposite side. It appears to be some form of zone, which is why I thought, maybe they're playing man on one side and zone on the other, which is a possibility. It's not too often you see it, but in this scenario, that's what it appears to be. But it's definitely man with Lockett and DK for sure. And Tyler Lockett just wins his one-on-one situation and makes it look very easy. That route's not easy to run, and Ty Lockett just knocks it out the park there. So that is my first one. Shout out to Ty Lockett. Underrated route runner in the NFL. Mike and I have had our discussions about that. It's really tough to put him in the top 10, but damn, does he make a good case week in and week out. Because Mike actually mentioned to me, I think I texted you sometime this week, and you were like, bro, did you see the route that he put on Newsome? If I'm not mistaken, and it was negated because of a penalty, unfortunately, but I watched it, and I was like, good Lord. It was a whip route. He started off banking inside and then broke back outside, and it was, you can imagine he was wide open. This next one, it's going to be, I can say it now, our boy, and that's Jake Bobo. So as you guessed it, Seahawks are in 11 personnel. This is going to be in the first quarter. So this is actually on the same drive, just later in the game, obviously. It's first and goal from the 2, 9 minutes and remain in the first quarter. Again, the Seahawks are in 11 personnel. So that is, yes, you got it. Follow with me. 3 wide receivers, tight end, 1 running back. Browns appear to be in a man blitz, and they have 5 DBs on the field with all your big guys are stacked up at the front of the line here. So they're expecting a run for sure. But I love what the Seahawks do here. Mike has talked about it. Mike talked about it, I think, early on in the season when we discussed their red zone issues and not being able to run it into the end zone. Mike flat out said, they're going to have to get creative. And in this scenario, this is the creativity that needs to continue to keep the defense on their toes. So we're going to go ahead and roll it. And I just want you to watch the play. Boom. Skirt. Give it to me. That's 6. I love this play for multiple reasons. If you guys remember earlier in the season, or not, maybe against Arizona too, what they like to do is bring a receiver or a tight end in motion. And usually that tight end and wide receiver is going to be your lead blocker on this run play to Ken Walker, if that's what they were going to run here. In this scenario, the Browns have been watching film. So they're, okay, yep, it's going to go to Ken Walker. We know that Jake or whoever is coming across in motion is going to be the lead blocker that's supposed to get the corner, safety, or sometimes in this scenario, chip a defensive lineman and then work your way up the field. On this one, the Seahawks said, nah, we're actually just going to give it to Jake, and it caught them off guard. The only issue is, I guess the big issue is the fact that they're in man. So in this scenario, the DB's following Jake. If they're in zone, it probably works even more clean, and Jake is able to bounce it outside. But because it's man and everybody hits their blocks and guys are in position defensively, Jake has to cut it inside, as you can see here. But by then, Jake puts his foot down, and he's not going to get stopped. He's a physical guy when it comes to running the football, and he's able to punch it in the end zone. So here, this is just another great play from the game that I really liked, and it reminded me of what Mike said about getting creative in the run game, and this is one way to do it. Give it to your wide receiver. He can catch it. He can run it. Jack of all trades. He's getting it done, and that was one of my standout plays on the offensive end as well, because it's our boy, Jake freaking Bobo. This last one, though, I got to go to defense, and it's a play where I'm not going to criticize this player, but I think as a whole unit, when you game plan to stop certain things, you got to be ready for it. And in this scenario, the Seahawks had game planned for the screen, right? I was able to catch KJ All Day's pod with Clint Hurt, defensive coordinator, and G asked him straight up, yo, what happened with the screens? Like, how were you guys so caught off guard? And sometimes it is a scheme thing. They scheme it up really well, multiple things happening, and you get lost in the sauce. And that sometimes happens. But, I mean, obviously, I could have grabbed a clip from the first 3 screens that ended up being a touchdown later on in the game, and I think it was maybe the second quarter. Yeah, maybe late first, but it was 14-0. And what did the Browns do? They run 3 straight screens and ended up scoring a touchdown. I'll go to it later in the game. It's third quarter, 2nd and 12, 13 minutes on the clock and rolling. Browns are in 11 personnel. It's going to be 3 wide receivers, a tight end, and 1 running back. And the Seahawks got their nickel guys out, their nickel package, so that's going to be 5 defensive backs. And you got Tariq Woolen at the top of your screen. You'll have, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that's definitely Witherspoon there. Yep. You got Diggs at the top, left-hand side. Man, who is that over there? Trey Brown, and then Bobby Wagner, Jamal Adams, and then you got Jordan Brooks, who's also in the box right now. He looks like he could be blitzing, but I'm going to run it through, and you can just see, usually on a screen, somebody reads it, no one reads it. Jamal's the closest guy there, and that's a tough one. You got 2 fat men, 600 pounds of beef. So have you been to you ever been to a slaughterhouse, Mike?
Absolutely not.
Neither have I. But in that scenario, just imagine yourself walking into a slaughterhouse and there's just 2 big ass cows dangling from the ceiling and you're trying to just walk. You're like, whoa, I can't really get through. And that's where Jamal is. He's just in a slaughterhouse, got 2 fat men, 300 pounds each, and he just gets sandwiched and he can't get through. 9 times out of 10, Jamal is good enough to probably squeeze through there, make a guy miss. Last week, I showed that exact play. It was a running play, and the left tackle pulled. Actually, it was a different play. The left tackle pulled, and he was able to make a miss. On this scenario, he had 2 guys. That's tough. He could still make it, and I think Jamal knows he could have made it. But my big gripe is with the guys coming off the edge. As I said earlier, Jordan Brooks is probably blitzing here, right? So Jordan Brooks feels he has a free shot at the quarterback. Cool. That makes sense. I give you that. Sometimes not taking into account there's someone blitzing. They get it wrong. That's a free blitzer. But my guy on the edge, D Hall, come on, baby. They're not going to just let you run in like that. The awareness has to click in. Okay, you know what? This might be a screen. Considering earlier in the game, they ran 3 straight screens on y'all. So this is just a minute thing. In the grand scheme of things, the Seahawks won the game, but I know when they went back and watched the film, they're probably kicking themselves. Damn it, we knew it was going to happen. We knew it was coming eventually. And in this one, they just missed it. They weren't in sync. And again, Derek Hall, you just got to realize, damn, I'm getting a free rush. Look at this. And Njoku don't even pay him no mind. And Njoku lets him run right by. And in your head, you got to be thinking, wait a second. My guy didn't even touch me. Maybe this is a screen coming. And the good thing is he jumps in the air to try to bat the pass down, which I understand I get. But by then, now, look at this. Look how it's setting up. Draymond Jones, he's not in position. Jamal could make the play. But again, like I said, he got in the slaughterhouse and there was nowhere for him to make a play. And it's just unfortunate that this turned into an explosive. I mean, Jay Reed, he was running, but Devin Witherspoon was able to get him, if not Tariq Woolen. So, and you can see it from this angle as well. At the top, Jamal Adams reads it, he sees it, and then, ooh, that's tough. If Jamal makes that play, my God, that's why they pay him the big bucks. But a great scheme by the Browns. I'm not sure how much the Ravens run screens, but I would imagine they're going to throw at least one or two at the Seahawks. And I believe, and I hope they're ready for it, but just the anticipation, getting a free rush in those scenarios, have a defensive lineman, defensive end, you just got to realize, you know what? It's probably a screen coming and just throttle down and be able to make the play. So those are my plays. Offense and defense. Offense, I had two great ones. Defense, not so good. Room to grow. This defense is still getting better week by week. I'm excited to see what they can do against the Baltimore Ravens. Going up against a former league MVP, it should be fireworks. But again, a great scheme here. And I think the Seahawks will definitely get better as the season goes on, but that's something they can definitely improve on. Mike, the floor is yours.
All right. Let's go defense first. I'm a feeling a defensive mood right now.
Which one you want to go with first?
Start with the drop slant by Amari Cooper, please. Pull that up for me. So now the drop one, it should be further away from. They should be on the other side of the field, kind of in the same area where they just ran the screen. Here we go.
Yep.
This is earlier in the game. What's important here, because we're gonna eventually get to the interception. But the reason why I'm putting together this compilation of plays that stood out, they stood out during the game, but they then stood out when Spoon talked to us during the week, and he was asked about his vantage point on the interception. Julian Love's interception, to be clear. I keep forgetting they had two. Julian Love's interception at the end of the game. And he was like, yeah, actually, I'll read Spoon's exact quote. He says, quote, I was guarding Amari Cooper, and earlier in the game, we kept getting two slants to the field with a spot route backside. So on the interception, quote, it was third down. They had conventional splits. I was expecting a slant or at least a double move. We were just reading two, and I seen two go away, so I was squeezing one back, and Maul made a hell of a play with his helmet, and that was crazy. And then he followed up. Spoon said, quote, like I said, once I see something in a game occur more than one time, a team is most likely going to come back to it, especially if it worked the first time. I just played the play, end quote. So as we've probably talked about here, and then Pete Carroll has talked about a lot, is that Spoon has a really good, you can go ahead and roll it, Chris. Spoon has a really good feel for things and like route combinations and stuff like that. So this is a play earlier in the game. Pause it right here. So so when he says number one, so when you're counting the receivers, when you hear that, like if someone says speed at 3, or I had number 2, or I had number 1 on the play, they're not talking about their jersey numbers. They're talking about where they are in relation to like the line of scrimmage. So the furthest guy away from the line of scrimmage is going to be number 1. And then like the inside guy is usually number 2. And if there's another inside guy, that's number 3. So what often you'll hear is like, oh, they put speed at 3, or, the number 1 did this. The number 1 receiver is the furthest outside guy. And that's on each side of the formation. So when you hear Spoon say had number 1, number 2, that's what that means. So in this case, top of the screen is Amari Cooper. He is your number 1 here. And as you can see, they're to the field, like Spoon was talking about. So that's the far side of the field. Just read it that way. So you see where the ball's on the hash. The far side will be the field in this case. So, or in every case, honestly. But yeah, so number 1 is Amari Cooper. And as you can see, he's at the top, and he runs a slant. So roll that through, Chris. So this is earlier in the game. And see, look, he drops it, but this is like, if you're the Browns upstairs, like if I was one of their personnel guys, I'd be like, hey, let's come back to that, because it worked based on how they were playing. It looks like they're Chris. Well, that's probably cover 3. It's pretty simple. Yeah, Jamal's got the flat.
Cover 3.
Yep. Jay Love's got the other flat, and then Quandre single high, and then Rika and Spoon deep there. All right. So take me to the next one. Should be give me Amari Cooper the catch in the red zone. He catches. It's very similar for like 8 yards. All right. So we're in a similar look here. It's too high, but for those guys, it's about the same thing. Go ahead and roll this one through. Again, we're looking at the top of the screen this time. This time it's Trey Brown at the top, but the effect is still the same. What are we seeing here? We're seeing the number 1 run a slant to the far side of the field. And actually, in this case, they get exactly what Spoon was talking about earlier. They got 2 slants. So you can see the number 2 is who Spoon's guarding there. See how he jumps Elijah Moore's, I think that's Elijah Moore. He jumps Elijah Moore's slant, and then Coop has it on the back, from from the number 1 runs a slant as well. He catches it, and I think this is like 3rd and 11, so he really only catches like 8 yards, so they ended up kicking a field goal. I believe this is after Geno's interception, I believe. Another good example of them holding the other team to 3. So remember that. You get 2 slants to the far side again, and they target the number 1 on the slant, and they get yards. They get 8 yards. They don't get a first down, but it works. I guess there's not even really a contested catch. All right, give me the next one. It should be the running back in the flat. I believe so.
Ford.
And yep. I think Jerome Ford is my man's name. All right. So pause this before the snap. So we have a similar setup. Again, this is the down and distance here is important. I believe it's 3rd and medium, like 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4. And if you look where they're at, it's kind of similar to where the interception ended up being. Again, we'll get to that play in a second. And we get, again, a very similar look. This time at the bottom of the screen, we got Trey and Spoon covering the guys on the far side. So at the bottom of the screen, you got Cooper as the number 1. Number 11's the number 2 guy in this. I think that's Peoples-Jones or something. Yeah, doesn't really matter. Yes, Donovan Peoples-Jones is his name. So run it, Chris. So we got don't watch the ball here. Just watch the guys on the bottom of the screen. You get a similar idea with both of the guys on the far side breaking in. And again, look at Coop. Like if he wants to go to Coop here at the bottom, Coop's there. A very similar thing that they're running. It's all kind of the same. Even then, to the side that PJ throws it to, it's that same thing where a guy just runs a little stick, and then you got someone out into the flat. In this case, it's the running back. This is a really bad throw. I think this is like in the 3rd quarter. Julian Love probably makes that play, even if he catches it. He made a similar play, I believe, against the Cardinals in the flat. But the point of that was showing all of these. Like Spoon is taking all this in. Maybe everyone is too, but we're talking about Spoon here. So he's taking all this information in. He's seeing, all right, when we get the far side of the field, number 1 to the field is running a slant pretty much every time in certain situations, and he's getting the look that he wants. Twice he's been targeted. Once he went to the boundary that time to the running back, but still, like if he wanted the slant, it was there.
All right, Chris. So now go ahead and give me the interception, the one where Jamal, uses his head. So you guys are probably sensing the theme here. I mean, I explained it before, but you're seeing it now. So the setup is pretty similar. We get it looks like they're in trips to the field, but as you can see, Chris, you can go ahead and roll it through. They get a motion, so we kind of get the same type of look we were getting before, right? So pause right here. The look for the Seahawks it varies a little bit. Like this time, for instance, Jamal's over the number 2 guy at the bottom of the screen, Donovan Peoples-Jones. That's Elijah Moore. So now Jamal Adams is over Elijah Moore. And then now we got Spoon on the bottom of the screen over the number 1, who is, again, Amari Cooper. Like the tell, maybe I don't know what their tell was, but like for the Seahawks, like, all right, Coop to the field, number 1, we're probably getting a slant here. And remember, this is 3rd and short or medium-ish. So it's very similar to what we just saw in the play where he goes to the guy in the flat. So you can tell like this is kind of their go-to look. So yeah, you can go ahead and roll it through. You look at where PJ is kind of trying to go, not kind of, where he is trying to go to Coop on that slant. But watch Spoon here versus remember how it looked on all those other slants, how open it was, how Cooper had a chance to catch it or did catch it. Look at the difference now. Like, Chris, can you roll that again and then pause that? Can you pause that? Like right when PJ is about to hit his drop from bang right there. Like, look at the difference. The difference in between, like, even from Chris from the first clip. Like, remember how open Amari was on that first slant he got to the far side? He drops it, but it's wide open. Even the one that he catches in front of Trey Brown, it's he has to throw it a little low because Quandre's coming, which I think Quandre's coming again. But he catches it, and gets the 8 yards. And even on the one where Jerome Ford has that bad ball in the flat, like Coop's there. Spoon, I love the insight that he gave us. He's like, yo, they ran this before. It worked. When the game is on the line, they're going to run it again. So how can not only just knowing, all right, cool, I took that database of stuff that they ran at me. Cool, I got it. Now how can I impact the play? And so roll it a little bit and pause it. Come back a little bit for me. Like right there. Spoon, Chris, is going to make a play on this ball if Jamal doesn't get it. Now, obviously, it doesn't ultimately matter because Jamal does, but Jamal's not going to hit his head on the slant every game. You know, what's more likely is that the ball is going to get through it. It's up to the DBs to make a play on it. Like, look at how tight he is to Amari at what would have been the point of attack. I love the insight from Spoon, and it's one of those examples of some of that stuff, his instinctual stuff. Because there's so much going on. Think of all the stuff, Chris, that's going on with Spoon during the game. He playing nickel, he playing outside, and he's playing pretty much all of these offenses for the first time. So he has nothing else to draw on, like with experience. This is what his 6th game in the NFL. No preseason, no nothing. So there's a lot going on. We hear rookies talk about this, like, yeah, I was running around not knowing what's going on, yada yada yada. This dude is taking all the information, applying it, like, yo, back slants to the field. Okay, they ran it. They worked before. They're probably gonna come back to it. And I think I asked him. I was like, if Jamal doesn't get that, are you making a play on it? He said, "quote I believe I would have made a good play on the ball. PBU, have a 3rd down stop. PBU meaning pass breakup. So he knows that it would have happened. And again, he didn't make the play, but I do like this kind of insight into the instinctual stuff that Pete Carroll loved him for, that he's kind of shown. Because this is going to come up. I also bring this play because it's going to come up. The Ravens are going to see stuff. You know, the Niners are going to see stuff. Brian Schottenheimer is calling stuff for the Cowboys, I believe, or he's like their OC or something over there. When they play him, he's going to see stuff. Eric Bieniemy for the Commanders, they're going to see stuff. Even if it doesn't work like in earlier in the game, work as in like the play is successful, like that Amari Cooper drop, you wouldn't necessarily consider that, oh, that play worked because he dropped it. Nah, it worked because he was butt naked open. And then what they do, go right back to it. So yeah, I love the hearing from Spoon on it, and then look at the film and being like, yeah, okay, he's right. And then I just love Spoon just letting the Browns know, like, hey, we out here. I love that. I love that insight from the rookie. Love kind of getting into his brain on that. We'll go to the offense here. I don't know how often we've had Tyler Lockett on our standout plays this year. Well, I feel like we had to show him a little love. This is on the first drive. I believe we got a play action look, and it's a shot to DK, and the Browns cover it well. You can go ahead and roll it through, Chris. DK is at the top of the screen here on the play action shot, and where they throw a defender right underneath it. Sexy, beautiful coverage by the Browns, actually, and an example of the type of coverages DK like warrants. Like they're like, we're not going. They got a guy on top of him and a guy underneath him. So if you can go back to the start of this, the way I love this, and if you can pause it for me at the top of Geno's drop, so we can kind of see what's unfolding with Tyler. So this is kind of similar to the play we had last week where play action deep shot, Geno gets to his back foot, and he's trying to take a far, like, long joint. This is the route DK runs is actually what I think Jackson Smith and Jigba was supposed to run on that play, for what it's worth. But anyway, so as it rolls, as you can see, Geno's like, yo, DK not open. If I throw this is probably picked. Tyler I love how Tyler feels this. Tyler's a very QB-friendly receiver. Not everybody's like this, and it's really important. It's not just about being big, strong, have good hands. This is about awareness, too. Tyler has some of the greatest awareness I've seen of any receiver in the league because, Chris, he could just keep running. His route is probably to keep running, and if he keeps running and Geno has time, that might be a touchdown. But instead, roll it. He feels it out and is like, oh, man, my guy's in trouble. Craig's in trouble. Drop everything. Come quick. And then works right back to him. I love the way he makes himself available here because Geno's kind of in no man's land when he starts scrambling. Like, he probably slides for what do you think? What does he get there, Chris? Like 3-4 yards if he slides a little bit past the 40 before that linebacker comes and takes his head off. Yeah, it's a few yards, which is it's a fine play. Like, he takes what the defense gives him. But because Tyler makes himself available and breaks that route off, so screw what I was going on with. I'm gonna make this happen for my quarterback. And I love it from the end zone angle as well, because if you pause it at the right spot, Chris, you can like basically see Tyler looking back after he breaks, like, oh, is Geno got me? Oh no, Geno's in trouble. Let me break this off and come back to my guy and work back towards him. Tyler is so good in these scramble situations. And I love this because, like I said earlier, the good defenses, or no, I didn't say this earlier, but this is why I'm showing this play. The good defenses are going to force these guys to make these off-script moments. He's really good on script too, but they're gonna have to make these on the fly adjustments where all right, the read's not there. There's only 2 routes on the play, so if one ain't there, I got to go to the other or take off. Great freelance in there by Tyler. Great movement by Gino. Yeah, I liked everything about this. I like that Gino's like, it's not there. Tyler working his way back. And Chris, Tyler does all this stuff without practicing. Tyler didn't even practice. He didn't practice all week before this. And it's like, in the game, I got it. He's one of them natural dudes, which is really cool to see because that's going to be important. The Ravens are going to force Gino and Tyler and the receivers to play off script a little bit. The Commanders probably not because they stink. But Cowboys are, the Eagles are, the Niners are, the Titans are, the Steelers are. So many of the Rams will. So it's going to be tough. I look like that chemistry is nice. And this is probably, Chris, probably the best offensive play of the day. Is Gino getting out of trouble on 3rd and 1,000,000 and finding Tyler. We're going to focus on Tyler here again because this is another example, I think, of it's going to be important in the red zone in particular. Teams are going to take away stuff. We learned in the Bengals game, like teams are going to have answers for the Seahawks red zone stuff. And even here, Chris, I don't know what you saw, but I don't even know where Gino was supposed to go initially on this. Like this is pretty strapped up.
Cover it up. Yeah.
Yeah, from the start. And Gino's able to make something happen. And Chris, I can remember it might have been the Bengals show, the Bengals post game show that we did. We're kind of talking about like Gino's got to be that guy sometimes where if stuff goes wrong, you make something happen. This is a perfect example of that. The Ravens lead the league in sacks. They are going to force Gino to have to do superhuman stuff like this. And it's going to require some off-script stuff by the receivers. I thought this is really good. And we can watch it through and pause it when Tyler gets to the goal line on the all-22 view, because he's kind of in no man's land. Like, again, I don't really know what this was supposed to be anyway. I should have asked Shane Waldron about that this week because I'm watching it and I'm like, where was he supposed to go? Like, even if he had time, I'm not sure. But just look how naturally Tyler understands where everyone else's route is. He understands where DK's route is going, so he understands where the void is without even having to check and roll it through. Like, he spins back, and now I think that's Newsome is just cooked, or whoever's guarding him is just cooked, and he finds that space back there. Just such a QB friendly dude. On top of being, I mean, DK does some good scramble rules too. There you can see in the back of the end zone. But this is what's gonna be necessary. As much as these plays are rare, I think, and Chris, I'm sure you'd agree, the good defenses are going to force them to have to make these plays. It's gonna be 3rd and 9 in the 4th quarter, and you can't take a sack because it'll knock you out of field goal range. Somebody blows they block, but it's on Gino to, all right, man, I'm about to make something happen here. Can't do it all the time, but it's going to be required to beat the good teams. I mean, they beat the Browns by the skin of their teeth. And it's just great spatial awareness by Tyler. Great hands. He's the toe tap king. George Pickens should watch some Tyler Lockett tape. And if you guys watched the Thursday night game, you know why I'm saying that. Shout out to Tyler on that. The ways I was taking notes in my little Google Doc when I watched film this week, and at the end of it, I was like, yeah, Tyler makes himself available. That's what I had. And bold. He helps the quarterback out. Everyone's not like this. They run their route, they'll give up or whatever. Like last week, Chris, what do we have? Jake Bobo, I think, who was supposed to do something different on the scramble that led to a Gino interception. Here, Tyler does the right thing to make himself available and gets open. So, yeah, I shout out to Tyler, and I hope that more of this stuff can happen for these guys off script, because I guarantee you the Ravens are going to force them to do this. The Ravens are – you guys thought the Browns defense was good. The Ravens might be even better. So, yeah, it was great making himself available by Tyler, kind of showing what he can do beyond just how the plays are drawn up and what they're coaching, because that's all freestyle. I asked Shane Waldron, I said, that touchdown, just how you drew it up, right? He was like, he joked, like, yeah, exactly like it. When in reality, Gino was like, no, it never looked like that in practice. And then you would have never thought that watching it. So great plays by Spoon and Locke this week. I know Spoon didn't actually make that play, but you guys can see why it stood out, because like his instinctual stuff and then Tyler's awareness, it's just beautiful to see. You can't really appreciate it till you watch it on film, which is why I showed those. But yeah, that was great stuff this week by those guys. That was impressive. I was very impressed when I went back and watched the film, particularly on defense.
And I would like to add, I can visualize Gino in a t-shirt and shorts having cones out there doing that drill where he backs up, does a spin move, high steps, and then flings it to Ty Lockett while they're down at USC practicing in spring. Like that, like I'll roll it again. That's exactly what I thought of. Like, ooh, drills, sprint move, 1-2, touchdown. Like they work on these things in the summer, and in this, it's just a drill for him. He feels it, launches it, touchdown. So that was what came to my mind when I watched the film. I was like, damn, this. I went back to Gino's page. DK has highlights of him running routes. I was like, this looks like the stuff they do over the summer. Now it's just game scenario in live reps, and they've done it so often that Gino probably it just naturally happens. It just rolls right off the fingertips, rolls right off the feet, like a little ballerina. Touchdown. Beautiful play.
Yeah, man. No, and those type of plays are why Pete Carroll isn't ready to just burn it all down and put Drew Lockett in. Yeah, I feel Pete after the games. I feel like Pete tripping sometimes, and then you go back and watch the film, which Pete has already done a lot of the time, and then you watch it, and I'm like, that's one of those. I told my editor this. That's one of those single-digit guy throws, and I say that meaning there's a single-digit number of people in the league who are making them. Gino has a couple of those every week. Now, obviously, you can't just keep turning the ball over, no matter who you are. That includes Mahomes, Herbert, Aaron Rodgers, whatever, Lamar, Tua. You can't just keep turning it over; you'll get benched. But man, when you're making plays like those, that's a Mahomes play. That's an Aaron Rodgers play. That's a Lamar Jackson play where it's backyard ball, like you said. That's tough. That's one of those pay me type of throws. Yeah, Gino had a few of those in this game. But yeah, those are the type of players where it's like, yeah, they'll be fine. If you notice, Chris, so many people who are like outside observers watch the Seahawks offense and are they're on board. Like it's Mina Kimes or the homie Robert Mays at the Athletic here. Like they'll tweet it out, or Nate Tice at the Athletic here. They'll be like, oh man, look at the Seahawks offense. Meanwhile, everyone Seahawks Twitter's like, oh my goodness, we got to get rid of Gino, draft a quarterback,
bench him.
Drew Lock. No. Trust me, like when you watch this film of the Seahawks, you can see the vision. It's just got to all come together. And I think it will. As the pass protection gets better, I think Gino is going to make more plays like that versus more plays like the interceptions that he had.
Well, there it is, ladies and gentlemen, another film session. We thank you guys for taking your time to spend with us and learning, watching film with us. We appreciate it. We'll come back after the Seahawks take on the Ravens in Balti. So that'll be a fun one. And then we'll have some more standout film review plays for you next weekend. But other than that, enjoy the wet, rainy weekend. We will catch you guys again after the Seahawks take on the Ravens. Mike, is there anything you want to add before we get out of here?
As always, we appreciate you guys tapping in, whether it's here, whether it's on our audio versions of the podcast, after on the post-game shows. Thank you so much. We would not be doing this for nothing without you guys. So thank you for the love and support, whether on social media, in the comment section, the subscribe button, likes, whatever, anything. We appreciate all that love, and we will catch you guys on Monday morning.